Hey, I thought I'd knock out a quick Switch port review for Astebreed. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Basically, I have this game on PC and PS4. This is actually the first time I've finished it. There's just been numerous things happened. I just wasn't able to ever finish this game. I actually just finished it on the Switch version. I can tell you that the problems that a lot of people have with this game, which is mostly the sensory overload, there's just a lot of shit going on, especially if you have the dialogue turned on. Like, you have these people just chatting up a storm, and there's like a million bullets and ships all around you at all times. That's actually made worse by the performance issues. The game does target 60 FPS, but it doesn't seem to hit it most of the time. In very heavy intensity, like sections of the game, it will tank quite a bit, so it can make it even harder to get a grasp of what's going on. But when it runs at 60 FPS, it is pretty satisfying to play. Now, the options are pretty standard stuff. Nothing special here. Now, when they had this on the PC, they had only one control scheme, but they actually added a different one here to make it easier to play on controllers. This is the one that I've been using, but you can also change the controls on either one. I'm not enough of an expert on this game to know exactly what's different between normal and arrange mode, but I was able to finish the whole game on arrange mode with not that much difficulty. There is a massive difficulty spike on the final two bosses. The rest of the game is pretty trivial. This game is pretty forgiving in terms of a shmup, meaning that you have like a lot of health. Your health can regenerate and things like that. Sometimes during cutscenes, like, you basically get like a scripted 30-40% of it back. So it's not like it's a hard game to finish. It's just that it's not like balanced in the proper way. Like the last two bosses, like, you'll just have to actually pay attention to what you're doing, and the rest of the game you really don't. So I'm gonna go through the first chapter here, and you'll be able to see just how much it dips. But then, unlike the final boss, I played this whole game in its entirety in portable mode. It doesn't really tank at all, so I'm not really sure what it is. It might be some of the effects or something that are causing issues, but it could use a patch or two. I couldn't really see myself bothering to score on this game with this version, unless the frame rate is worked on a little bit. So the first thing you're going to want to do is turn the dialogue on result only, because this game is already a massive sensory overload. There's so much shit going on at all times, and there's going to be a bunch of people talking in Japanese, and even if you can understand Japanese, you're not really going to be able to focus on it. If you can't, then you're going to be trying to go down to the bottom and read it. So basically what you can do is you can put it on result only, and that makes it so they only talk when you see your results at the end, when it shows you your score and how well you did on that particular chapter. I recommend doing that because this game it's already hard to keep a bearing of what's going on at all times, and then you have the performance issues kind of happening at random as well. So I'll play through the first chapter here, and you should definitely be able to notice that sometimes it's just not really performing as well as it should be. The game is by no means unplayable. I mean, if you could only get hit like once in this game, then yes, I would say it is, but since this game is pretty forgiving in terms of how many times you can get hit and things like that, it's actually not that bad. But still, I feel like for a shmup, the game should be 60 FPS locked. Like you can see, it's already tanking quite a bit here. To be fair, this game does have a lot going on. I used to run this on a 750 Ti and a really crappy CPU, like an AMD one. And I don't recall having any problems. It might just be a problem with optimization. This game is pretty old, so I don't really see why the Switch couldn't run it, but at the same time, there might be something, overhead causing it behind the scenes. So imagine this with people blabbering about random technobabble that you don't even understand, even if you do speak the language. And you can see just how much the dialogue just makes it unintelligible. Now this developer actually makes a lot of really cool like Japanese indie games. They also have Fairy Blue Freesia, which is a game I've had on Steam for years and I've just never really gotten around to finishing. I think during the kind of dry period between now and when Vesperia comes out and the Dragon Mark for Death, I might look into that. They actually have a new game coming out soon too that I'm interested in checking out as well. Anyway, you can see it's not really stable. It seems like the performance is pretty much the same regardless of what mode you're in, which I guess is kind of a good thing. But I was kind of expecting that it would be better in dock mode than portable mode, but unfortunately it's not. I think it's mostly the amount that it tries to maintain or target 60 and doesn't meet it is what's really awkward about this game. This game is kind of awkward to play to begin with because you're constantly changing perspectives and things like that. You're constantly going from one perspective to another, and you know, sometimes you can't hit enemies with the sword, sometimes you can't. So having the frame rate kind of drop like that is very disorienting, but I don't really think it's something that could be fixed with a patch. When the game does run at 60 FPS, it's very beautiful, but when it doesn't, it can feel a little off. I haven't really noticed anything as extreme as dropping inputs. That's definitely one of the biggest problems when games fluctuate in performance rapidly like this, is sometimes your inputs will drop. However, this game in general is very forgiving. It's mostly the last two bosses where you actually have to pay attention and kind of make more of a visual note of where your actual hitbox is. Like most, you know, Danmaku shmups, your hitbox is like a very small part of the character model. But other than that, the game is pretty, you know, like lax in terms of how many times you can get hit and things like that. So it's not like it's unplayable, but I would like them to fix it a little more. Once I got the hang of the mechanics, I actually was enjoying the game quite a bit, but the performance and the massive difficulty spike really kind of dampened my enjoyment a little bit. I can't really say that it performs as stable as it should. I don't really know much about the Switch hardware and whether this is actually pushing it or not. It does have a lot going on, way more than pretty much any other shmup on the console, really, and it is in full 3D, so I'm sure that doesn't help things, but I hope that they'll be able to optimize it further. If that happens, I'll definitely let you guys know. Anyway, I'll probably put up a couple runs of the first few levels and maybe the final boss if I feel like it. Thanks for watching. Peace.